When we think of ancient Egypt, we think of the pyramids, the Sphinx, and all those stories we are taught about the pharaohs and the slave races who built the mega structures scattered across the earth in the ancient past. We take the information given to us at face value as fact. We believe without questioning if there could be more to the story. Well, most people believe. Other people ask questions. And by asking questions, we arrive at the truth. By questioning the history of the massive ancient structures on Earth, we discover a massive cover-up orchestrated by religion and science for thousands of years. There is simply no way the pyramids in Egypt were constructed without the use of advanced machinery. I know. Tinfoil hat time, right? But wait till you hear this. We are told that the Great Pyramid of Giza is around 5,000 years old, but recent studies by many researchers from around the world are beginning to uncover the true age of a lot of these structures. In fact, they believe the Great Pyramids to be no less than at least 12,000 years old, with some researchers saying that other sites could be as old as 50,000 years. But how is that possible? And how did we stray so far from the truth? Are we beginning to uncover the greatest conspiracy, one set in ancient times by a completely forgotten civilization? Or could it even be possible that humanity fell victim to some sort of plague of amnesia that we are only now beginning to reawaken from? But that still doesn't answer what happened to all the machinery used in the construction of these megastructures. Throughout the world, we can see depictions in caves of early beings. This is what primitive humans were seeing thousands and thousands of years ago. It was unusual for them to try to document and depict what they were seeing at the time. So it begs the question, were there visitors to the Earth in the remote past from other worlds? This would explain the godlike depictions of the ancient visitors. It would also explain humankind's quantum leap in our evolutionary struggle. Maybe the Earth was an ancient intergalactic hub, or maybe a stop-off point for space travelers caught up in an interstellar war. If you have ever heard of the term cargo cult, this seems to have been what was happening on a massive scale across the Earth thousands of years ago. Basically, the cargo cult is a system of belief based around the expected arrival of ancestral spirits in ships bringing cargoes of food and other goods. The most widely known period of cargo cult activity occurred among the Melanesian islanders in the years during and after World War II. A small population of indigenous peoples observed, often right in front of their own dwellings, the largest war ever fought by technologically advanced nations. The vast amounts of military equipment and supplies that both sides airdropped to the troops on these islands meant drastic changes to the lifestyle of the islanders, many of whom had never seen outsiders before. The soldiers were treated like gods, and when they left after World War II, the islanders began to imitate the soldiers, hoping the cargo would keep coming. This also happened in ancient times, but who were these visitors to the Earth way back then? And will they ever return? The massive structures across Earth could possibly have been remnants of the alien visitors. This would explain that all that is left in most cases are the empty shells of ancient technologies. Our history teaches us that we went from cavemen to building pyramids almost overnight. Where is the bit in the middle? Was humanity in fact influenced by extraterrestrials? Interestingly, the Great Pyramid is located at the center of the landmass of the Earth. The centers of the four sides are indented with an extraordinary degree of precision, forming the only 8-sided pyramid. This effect is not visible from the ground or from a distance, but only from the air. This phenomenon is only detectable from the air at dawn and sunset on the spring and autumn equinoxes. when the sun casts shadows on the pyramid. Does that not completely blow your mind? The pyramid at Giza is a masterpiece. It is almost an impossibility that it was constructed under forced labor by the ancient Egyptians. It was built with such precision that our current technology cannot replicate it. Maybe we are on the correct path to uncover the hidden wonders that we see in plain sight. This evidence is obvious when carefully observed. It cannot in any way be explained or accounted for by merely dismissing the pyramids as being a tomb for a king constructed 4,500 years ago. There needs to be more independent studies by scientists and researchers of various disciplines concerning these anomalies. There is currently more than enough evidence to bring into serious question the whole assumption of the pyramids being constructed as a tomb for a king in 2500 BC. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments below. Thank you for watching.
This is the natural mound, and that they will empty all this space between the wall and the pyramid that had also the same level of the stone.
Right.
Because if we went here to that side, we will find out that the part of the pyramid itself from that level was not constructed, it was carved. Few steps were carved from the mound itself.
So the leveling of that base then was, you know,
I heard the
intended.
theory.
First, yeah.
It's like a 3 or 6
So
degree
again,
plane.
you have to think the way we talked. They started from underground, the tunnels. Then they leveled the plateau. Then they built the walls, as he said. Then they start building the pyramids.
Just to even prepare the base of the pyramid.
It's a huge engineering project.
Only the underground work of the pyramid.
Yeah, you want to take
Unbelievable.
Why would you bother to make something so flat to start with?
No, they were different blocks.
This could be the base. You know that any construction had a base from the mound itself, so it can become connected. And I believe that this formed the satellite construction or the satellite devices that used to be one part with the pyramid. So you can imagine that these were bases for shrines or bins or basins or different other devices that used to be connected with the pyramid. Of course, would be quarried before the rest of the stones. You know, the material.
I thought these could have been extra pavement stones that they were going to continue to leveling the plateau, and they just didn't use them. But you're right.
It's a theory. This is a theory, and also the other one is a theory. But I depend on my theory is that I saw, and you know too, like the pyramid of El Lahoun, that there is also satellite construction made like mastabas right beside it, and this could be forming the same element which was originally part of the pyramid complex. Yes.
Certainly so.
So sometimes we can use what's left in a site to put it back in the other side that it was taken from. So we can use all the pyramid complex, for example, so we can have a full idea about the elements in each and every one of them. Because piece of the puzzle is here, it's missing there, but there's another piece there that's missing here. So we can combine them and be aware of like the basin system, the sewer system, or labeled as sewer system for liquids and stuff like that.
Beautiful.
Also, look at all the flaws that are in that wall. If this was, you know, of course it was a quarry, but this is not a really good quarry because anytime you tried to take a block out, many of them would split in half, and we see the same thing in Peru where people talk about a site's a quarry, and you see all the fracture lines. It's like, it's not a very smart place to take a block out.
Oh no, but this is you got to understand that this wall probably came out a couple of feet, and that's the blocks that made the pyramids. So this is what they left. What you see, the score marks, what you think is bad, this is from camels. This is from Arabs making cuts in the wall to put their camels on.
No, I mean the fracture, all these fracture lines that are
That's
going through it.
natural from the cataclysm, I'm sure.
That's exactly my point, is that this was probably done
Pre-cataclysmic.
when it was really nice, and afterwards
That's correct.
It's colored, it's split, it's cracked, it's whatever.
All the whole discoloration in the king's chamber has to be from an explosion. You're absolutely right.
It's not a bunch of guys with candles.
No, you're right. No, this is what and we see cataclysmic results.
And the alignment. Look at the wall and how straight it is from that side.
I know.
And how straight it is from that side.
Nobody does.
And this is after thousands of
Yeah,
years,
exactly.
of course. So imagine
Exactly.
what
Of
was
winds
just
and
done.
sand and rain
Exactly.
and rain.
Exactly.
It's amazing the precision. That's the thing that grabbed Chris Dunn immediately. He saw precision he could not believe from an ancient culture. Only he thought modern people could do that.
Yeah. And it's difficult to train a slave to be a craftsman.
There is nothing mentioned in our part of history about slaves.
Exactly.
Another theory.
Well, your father said, your father made a brilliant point about that.
Yeah,
There
there
were
was no
slaves.
slave.
No.
And you,
There was no
Even the megalithic
right.
statue of Bersha,
No.
the one that weighed like 70 tons,
Right.
that they have depiction dragging it.
Right, it's bullshit.
It's, you can see clearly that all the people there are dressed and they have the wig and they have the, like a festival dress.
Right.
And they have even some people playing music.
It's
All
ceremonial.
of them are dressing like Egyptians. There is nothing showing like slavery. It was
Right,
like
exactly right.
more like doing this was more to a celebration.
Right.
For bringing this to the temple.
No, it was the Greeks who
And-
started and Romans to introduce slavery to the modern world.
And we can see it more in the,
Egyptians
in
did
the
not
New
have
Kingdom,
slaves.
with these battle scenes.
Servants, yes,
These battle
not slaves.
scenes actually they cannot depend on it in history because like one of the oldest one was also in the site of Abu Sir and it was showing Sahura and he had a battle with the Libyan leader and then there was the wife of the Libyan leader beside him like begging him for mercy and then the name of the leader and the name of his wife and the depiction was being copied the same in other timelines
Distinct
with the
dynasty.
same names and everything. Same like the depictions of Ramses II
Right.
and his battle,
Right.
and
Right.
Ramses III in the same battle,
Right.
and the fourth was the
And,
same
and
battle.
the Battle of Kadesh where he claimed he won.
Exactly. So these depictions doesn't have to be original, but it could be also symbolic to show him that he is the victorious,
And
and he's the
it's a
power.
key point. It's not showing actual history.
Exactly.
showing mythology.
We cannot also depend on this as a fact. Even Egyptologists are aware of that these depictions were copied and
Exactly. And reused
copied
right.
Exactly. So
Right.
they cannot depend on
No.
it to really
No.
to know that there was originally a battle or this was all just.
And that's why even the writing, the description of a battle cannot be considered historical. It can be mythological. Because they could be making up the glory for a certain king or ruler and it never happened.
yeah. And
Let's go see that part that's carved out of the.
well, also the key thing about if you want fine craftsmanship done, you have to feed and take care of the craftsmen.
And
so
train
train them. To have slaves do like ignorant
Impossible.
slaves do craftsmanship,
No.
which is 21st century.
No.
Not going to happen. There you have your
Yeah.
Roman technology.
Yeah.
There you have earlier.
Mysterious technology.
Exactly. No, it becomes so painfully obvious over
Some
time.
of the inscriptions in the tombs of the priests would say like, I built this tomb for myself. I paid every worker fairly and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So nobody can come and steal
Brian,
my
prove-
artifacts because I did it with honor.
The proof we have, Brian, that there were not
This is the
slaves
part.
was a papyrus that was found in the Middle Kingdom, where the workers went on strike because they didn't have enough garlic and onions. Now, do slaves strike? Do you think American slaves going to
Garlic and onions.
Okay, we're not working today, boss.
Garlic and
Yeah.
onions is important, though.
Exactly. That's what they do in Django. And Django was unchained.
And you
If
can
the guy,
see here,
the slave
this
something
is a
got a
clear
line, he gets shot.
example and the best example to show that the first levels from that side of the pyramid was actually not constructed but hacked and carved in the natural mound. So we have the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one at least, if not more. And they were all cased with granite stone, which you will see that it was quarried also. I believe that little workshop for creating millstones was located right here.
So you don't think this was artificial? You think the mound was here and then they started with the mound and then
Yes.
they laid stone on top?
There is no doubt. Here's the
Nobody's ever
evidence.
said that. Nobody says that, but you.
So the level of the mound itself is this high, in the same height of the wall. And this could be going inside. So we are using now the natural mound and shaping part of it and then casing it and continuing the building. And that's not all, because then in the center of the pyramid there will be another cut in the mound that goes deep, and we can see the best example from the pyramid that was totally quarried that's located in Abu Rawash and labeled for Jedefra.
And the other thing, which is, which should be obvious, but I saw at Great Pyramid, is that the casing stone wasn't applied to the surface, it interlocks. So every single casing stone had to be custom fit to fit in that particular place. And how much time is that? Again, it's a question of how much time would this take? When they say it took 30 years to do this, when you said it's taken 3,000 years to take it apart.
Yeah, not all of it.
Yeah, but
It
how
took
long?
more than 3,000 years of quarrying, and we still have all this left.
Exactly.
But they say that they built it in 30 years.
Yeah, but there's others say that with the advanced machining, it could have taken a crew of 80 men to build the Great Pyramid in 3 years.
Yes. Maybe less. Maybe
if they
less
had the
too,
machining to do.
But everything included
And
to
the anti-gravity
that
to lift
technology
the
is
stone.
still not proved 100%, so we cannot depend
Right.
on the theory
Right.
100%
Right.
until we prove that this was made.
I want to say
Earlier
something
time.
about
Of course.
years that the Japanese in 1996
Oh, they
they
tried.
had an expedition to build
Yeah.
a pyramid 16 meters, and they made a specific time with a specific schedule,
And it was
they
filmed on
couldn't-
Nova
yeah.
Television, shown in the U.S.
And they didn't finish it in
No way.
their time.
No way.
Okay.
But then Zahi tried again, and another time to build just 3 levels of the pyramid by having people haul blocks. 2 workers from the village were killed, and then they couldn't finish. They only built 1 level. They brought in helicopters and front-end loaders to finish it so they could film it for PBS, saying this is how the ancient Egyptians did it, with helicopters and front-end loaders.
Yeah.
And actually, the same thing. The same thing happened in Peru, and it was also a Nova Special. And this guy who insisted he knew that the Inca had done this work with bronze chisels and stone hammers. They had a film crew in, and if you've ever worked with a film crew, which I have, their time is money. Like
Yeah.
every minute they have to do something. After 4 days,
It's James right here.
the local group had done such little progress that the director said, "Bring in the power tools,"
Exactly.
because they had to show something
Exactly.
on film.
Yeah.
So again, and my biggest, I have respect for anybody who has a PhD, etc. But since I've worked in stone and wood and other materials since I was a kid, when they say it was done this way, and you have to say to them, take 5 minutes and show me an example of how that was done. That's it. Just give me 5
Take
minutes.
5 hours.
Exactly.
Take 5
5
days.
years.
This is what I always
Take
keep
5
saying to my
years.
people,
Show me
that
one
I have some hand tools. Yusuf, of course, is using all of it, but I do have a little bit of this experience. And one of the days I had a crystal piece. I wanted to make it a pyramid shape. For 2 years, I couldn't have the right angle. And at that size, okay, I'm not talking about giant pieces. It is this size. Every time now it's not right. And also, me and Yusuf and Patricia, in one of the trips 2 years ago, we witnessed this kind of operation, moving the stone by the workers, by the laborers.
Yeah.
In Elephantine Island 2 years ago,
Yeah.
there was a German or Asturian?
German.
German expedition, and when we went inside the area, they found 4 people pushing a block, looks like 2 tons maximum, on iron plumbs.
Wow.
Okay. We spent 2 hours in the area, and when we are going out, we
They
found
had
them
moved it 2
push
feet.
it for about 5 meters in 2 hours.
It's
For
a block
5
this size.
Yeah, it's like maximum 2 blocks, 1.5 or 1 block, 1 ton.
Yeah.
Okay, less than 2, more than 1.
Yeah.
4 people. Okay, it's not wood like they say in our stories. They use aluminum, I think, or metal lumps, which is harder and
Yes.
it makes easier for them.
Rolling, yeah, that's
But
friction.
in 2 hours they push it 5 meters.
Well, also,
and what? We're talking about flat surface.
Right.
What about when we go to the quarries of Aswan? The quarries is bumpy shape and cliffs, and it's not easy to move 2 meters in a straight line, even.
Yeah.
So when they cut pieces of granite, how they carry it and keep moving?
because
there is
they were happy
deep
drinking
itch.
beer.
Let me
That's
give you
what
another
Hawaii is.
example of how the Egyptologists play. And again, when we talk about, like we're saying, Egyptologists, it's never any offense to anybody in particular. Certainly not Muhammad.
Never.
Okay, so this is how they say they did it with copper chisels, and they're cutting granite. And come along a person like Chris Dunn, says copper does not cut granite, cannot do it. Chris Dunn does demonstrations. I was once on a closed circuit TV special with Chris, 1997, where he takes a small piece of granite. He can't do it anymore because you can't go through the airports with his chisel, and so. But he have a chisel, and he'd hit it a couple of times, nothing to the granite, and you'd look at the chisel as dead. So they found out about this. So Mark Lehner, American Egyptologist, close friends with Zahi Hawass, who started out originally, I'll give you the story of him, with ARE trying to support Casey material. Then he got his PhD and he turned totally against that after they paid for his doctorate, and he became the American Egyptologist and traditional theorist. So how he explained this with an honest face, he said they would have 1,000 chisels men lined up with chisels. And one guy would go bang, 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 no good, give me another one, bang, 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 give me another one, 1,000 lined up. And he says this with a straight face on television, PBS, and expects people to believe that.
Well, the other point is supposedly in order to build one of these in the time frame involved, each block had to be cut, moved, and put into place every 2 minutes.
Exactly.
And they'd say, well, it took 1,000 people. And you go, I don't believe you. Okay, it took 10,000 people.
Exactly.
And again, it goes back to the pragmatic thing. You show me this. You show me how you cut the stone in order to make me believe you. And if they won't do it, then they're talking theory. I'm talking.
You're right. It's a place like there is
It's off the hook.
There is one box weighing 100 tons. If I tell you, let's bring 10,000 people to carry it,
That's right.
it makes sense as a theory. But when you see the tunnel, it fit for 20 people only.
Yeah.
So how come 20 people is going to carry 100 tons? Because 10,000 cannot go inside together.
Not only that, but
Yes.
Chris Dunn proved that the boxes were finished in situ, which means that they were not built on the surface and brought in because temperature and humidity would expand.
Yes.
They fit in a little niche. So he calculated that it only could be 8 workers around this box that could work one time without killing each other, swinging stone hammers and boxes. 8 people to carve what you're going to see. It's impossible.
But I want to tell you that about the Egyptology. Egyptology started around 80 or 90 years ago. And those people, but actually it started from the Greek time. So the Greeks, when they started to explain this, they put their background in their explanation.
Exactly.
They are using hammers. So they said the Egyptians used hammers.
Exactly.
They are calling gods, so they call the nature gods. And then in the Middle Ages and the beginning of the 18th, 19th century, the early British and French, they put their own background also. Because their technology was very simple at the time, so they couldn't imagine that there is other technology can do this. So they stuck with the primitive tools. But nowadays we may have better chance that we have higher technology, but because of that technology we feel how difficult to do this with our technology nowadays. That's why I say if we Egyptologists will try to explain it again, to refix this, I think they're going to come out with better stories.
21st century explanation.
Yes.
There's one exception to your rule. That was the father of modern Egyptology, Sir William Matthew Flinders Petrie. Son of an engineer, he was a surveyor. He was honest enough in the 1880s with the technology of his day say, we don't know how they did this. We don't know how they did this. Chris Dunn has a chapter in his first book, he's a PowerPoint. He's been there many times. He has the best explanation of it. So Edward Leeds Scowlin, a Latvian man, all of 4'11", 96 pounds, lifted hundreds of tons of coral by himself and claimed he knew how the Great Pyramid was built. And we believe, and Chris has found the devices, that he created anti-gravity fields.
Well, the other thing is that, and Chris, Chris Dunn at this point would probably axe murder or shoot anybody who says laser. He showed it on Ancient Aliens. And he showed that lasers, what a laser is focused heat.
Right.
It's called coherent energy.
That's right.
It melts stone.
Right.
But what it does is it makes a mess when it's melting, because that's the nature of the device.
Yes. Right.
So it's it's normal for people to go to look at something, whatever, and you have to think in your own reference. What kind of technology do we have that could do this? But that's arrogance. It's I think intelligent to think and to be humble enough to say we don't have the technology. We are not the highest level of being that's ever existed. Show some humility, and in that way you'll learn. But when you think,
I'll explain that when we talk about cycles when I do my lecture. But to follow up what Brian really said, what Chris Dunn did for Ancient Aliens, and they didn't use it, was he did a demonstration of 3 different techniques of cutting stone: laser, iron chisel, and diamond. He did a clear demonstration. Basically, he cut the stone, iron big,
And what blows, like, again, that's why I love, I don't do tours in Peru for a business. I do it because I get people like Juan and I get people like Susan. There are no tool marks in Peru. There are no sanding marks. There's nothing, and that's what again. What Chris is. Chris, they call Chris an engineer, but more so he's a master craftsman, and so he has hands-on with what 1/10,000th of an inch actually is, and so he's great when it comes to especially flat surfaces. That's what he's used to building like incredible components of jet engines.
Jet engines. He was in high space technology. He did for NASA.
Yeah.
That's why NASA was interested in the Giza power plant and contacted him after he wrote it. Because he had projects for NASA. He was high-level precision, Chris, worked for many years. This is why he measures the tolerances and the cerebrium at 2/10,000ths of an inch.
Yeah.
And by mentioning the Serapeum, as I said, we are looking to huge buildings like the pyramids, but composed of thousands or millions of stones. But tomorrow we're going to see smaller things, but as one block, like the boxes, and later we go to Karnak, we're going to see the obelisk, so we can see the perfection in the angles and the measurements, and actually the replacement, one obelisk above a square base, and how they made accurate angles and accurate, the mistakes here is about 0.1000. Even computers will not give you this tiny chances of mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even see in the
Yeah.
CG.
Right.
Or
Okay. So let's go and visit the third pyramid of